This morning on DC News Now, a boil water advisory continues in Northwest DC. What water officials are saying about the ongoing repairs. Another hot and humid day with scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. Meteorologist Jackie Layer is tracking more stormy weather for the weekend. DC drivers could be in for a massive headache.
It's definitely impacting my travel plans because I know I have to leave early because of road closures.
Planning your commute around major closures for this weekend's military parade. Video of people being detained by immigration police inside a Virginia courthouse. Why advocates say these incidents are damaging trust. And a battle over bike lanes. Some neighbors calling them ugly.
You think I'm going to have my son ride up this bike lane with just paint? Paint isn't infrastructure. It doesn't protect anyone.
But cyclists say they're important for road safety.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good morning, and thanks for starting your Friday with us here on DC News Now. I'm Tanaya Wright.
And good morning. I'm Shanika Grimshaw. I'll be tracking your morning commute. But first, Jackie arrived on time. Thank you.
I don't know if it was on time or not, but yes.
Well, in time for when I was going to say. But first, Jackie, can you tell us about the forecast? That's all that matters.
I know. I mean, a lot of people want to know what the forecast is for this holiday weekend. A lot of people have plans, outdoor plans. So, and with that, you do want to make sure that you do have the rain gear on hand because we do have some rain and thunderstorm threats over the course of not only today, but also Saturday and Sunday. Satellite and radar out there right now. It's a dry start. We do have some clouds around. We'll notice more of those clouds building in through the day, and then also a better chance of some showers and storms developing later on this afternoon. A flood watch has been issued due to the fact that we could be dealing with some heavier downpours at times later this evening and later on tonight. So flood watch for DC, the surrounding area, as well as areas to the south. That will go into effect at 6 p.m. and that will hold until 2 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Now, much of the morning and into the early afternoon we're dry. I would say 2 p.m. onwards, and we start to notice some of those thunderstorms bubbling up back out towards our westernmost areas, out towards the Shenandoah Valley, closer towards D.C. I would say closer towards that evening commute, and then still sticking around through at least sunset. And some of those clusters of storms will have those heavier downpours leading to lower visibility and that potential for some ponding. But I'll have more details on that weekend forecast coming up. Shanika?
All right, Jackie, thank you. Now, checking out the roadways here, we're looking at the inner and outer loop right on the Capitol Beltway past New Hampshire Avenue. Things are moving fine. You're not seeing any traffic whatsoever, so hopefully it stays that way for this early Friday morning. Along 270 north and southbound, mainly looking good, but through Hyattstown right before Clarksburg, you do have some delays there, and that's just heading southbound right in that area there. Checking out BW Parkway heading northbound, so this is right through Laurel, just past Powder Mill Road. It looks like you will see a crash there. That's causing a bit of a delay. Really not too bad, but if you are heading northbound, delays could build and grow. So just do keep that in mind if you have to get anywhere on time, anywhere in Baltimore. BWI Airport is one of them. Keep in mind, we do have closures in the district. Just reminding you for the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade. That'll be along Constitution Avenue, Independence Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue. Anywhere in the district in that area there will be closed. So do keep that in mind.
And some breaking news this morning. Israel attacks Iran's capital Thursday night, targeting its nuclear sites and scientists. It raises the potential for an all-out war in the region. Iran launched drones targeted at Israel in retaliation for the attack. In Iran, multiple sites around the country were hit, including Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility. Major Iranian military leaders were confirmed dead. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the attack is critical to Israel's survival, but many world leaders are calling for de-escalation.
It's difficult now to predict exactly what will happen over the next 24 and 48 hours, but I think there is a focused endeavor to make sure that de-escalation is the key.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat.
And other leaders, including from India and Turkey, have condemned the attack. It has caused the U.S. and Iran negotiations over a possible nuclear deal to be canceled. And developing now, there is a boil water order for nearly 5,000 families in the district.
Yeah, DC Water says they're now collecting samples in that area. Here's a map. It shows you the areas impacted right there. You can see it's shaded in yellow. DC Water says the boil water advisory applies to people in Chevy Chase, Friendship Heights, Tenleytown, and Glover Park. There was a power issue at a pump station causing low pressure, which can allow contamination to enter the system. And they say this is a precautionary method just due to the unknown quality of the water. So here are some guidelines from DC Water. Be sure to throw away any drinks and ice made yesterday afternoon. Also, run cold water until it's clear. Bring water to a boil for 1 minute and then let it cool. DC Water also says they expect the advisory to be lifted by the end of today. And of course, we'll pass along any updates on air and online at dcnewsnow.com. 6:05 this Friday morning, and many are gearing up for this weekend's military parade, and hundreds of people make their way to the district for the celebrations.
That is right. Road closures and parking restrictions are already in place. Our Jean-Marie Sissay live near the National Mall this morning with more on what people can expect. Jean-Marie, this is going to be a big traffic mess.
Yeah, good morning. Even trying to get to the National Mall was pretty difficult for us this morning. We had to end up a little bit closer to the train station because a lot of roads have been closed. If you're around the district, you've definitely noticed a lot of fencing has been up, some parking restriction signs even directly behind me. They're blocking off one side of the road. A lot of police presence around the area, and all of this for the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade. Now, a lot of this went into effect just yesterday morning, and I just want you to take a look at this map for the road closures you can expect to see if you are coming into the district, if you do plan on driving around the area. Now, many of these roads leading to Constitution Avenue, Independence Avenue, and Pennsylvania Avenue will be closed, and that also includes roads to 7th, 12th, 14th, and 17th Street. Now, some jobs here in D.C. have even given employees a day off from work or have them work from home to avoid them having to deal with so many road closures. And all of this is expected to last until 6 a.m. Monday morning. Now, George Washington Parkway will also be closed in both directions between 50 and 395 starting this evening at 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. on Sunday. And some people have already made plans to avoid the area, while others who have to be here do have some concerns.
It's definitely impacting my travel plans because I know I have to leave early because of road closures.
Our concern is about employees getting into here because there's going to be a lot of checkpoints.
Now, again, all of these road closures are expected to last up until Monday at 6 a.m. For now, reporting in Northwest, I'm Jean-Marie Sissay, DC News Now.
All right, thank you, Jean-Marie. But not everyone loves the parade. In fact, the new Associated Press poll showing about 60% of Americans think it's not a good use of government money. Still, more people approve of the event overall than disapprove of it. There was also roughly 30% who were neutral.
And hundreds of protests are set to happen across the country this weekend, including here in the DMV. Organizers of the No Kings marches call it a nationwide day of defiance. One protest is happening in Arlington. That's along I-66, the overpasses. It goes from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. Protesters by the group earlier, they said this year they have denounced the president and his former advisor, Elon Musk.
And an important court hearing today for Kilar Garcia to determine if he can return home to his family in Maryland while he awaits trial. Now, he was wrongfully deported to El Salvador back in March and was finally returned to the U.S., but now facing serious federal charges of human smuggling in Tennessee. Abrego Garcia's attorney called the case baseless, saying there was no way a jury is going to see the evidence and agree that the sheet metal worker is the leader of an international MS-13 smuggling conspiracy.
And in Virginia, scenes of plainclothes people wearing a mask confronting and putting people in handcuffs. Advocates are saying this is terrorizing communities. And these videos you can see here were taken in Northern Virginia outside of an immigration courthouse in Sterling. This is where ICE agents arrested 10 people. And we're sharing those images. They were sharing those images with DC News Now's Max Marcilla, saying the government is creating a climate of fear without giving communities any information about whom they're arresting and why.
And is raising the alarm.
For this group of advocates, standing outside this immigration court in Sterling is nothing new.
Over the past few weeks, they say they've recorded 25 people get detained by ICE officials. These 3 videos, a sample of what they've seen. And now a new look from ICE, sharing 2 new videos of people being detained inside the courthouse. ICE saying Wednesday 10 people were arrested for immigration violations.
Instead of being met with dignity and due process, they are being detained.
Advocates saying these incidents are damaging trust.
Part of the purpose is to terrorize our communities and make them less likely to cooperate with processes like showing up for immigration court, which then puts a target on their back to be deported.
All the while, it's gotten tense outside the courthouse.
You, back up.
As advocates continue to record and this agent pushes them back, then appears to grab the phone out of the filmer's hand.
This is public property.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Lady,
It is public property.
I'm going to tell you right now.
While these organizers are recording people as they're detained outside the courthouse and then documenting the fear it is causing to the community here, they also say they really don't know what happens to them next. They also, for that matter, don't know who these people are.
We have not been able to contact them or their families.
Answers are hard to come by. We reached out to ICE to ask specific questions. How many people have they detained here since mid-May? Where were they brought? What are their names? Did any of them have criminal charges? And what's ICE's policy about when it might detain someone outside of a courthouse? No response yet.
Today, I am afraid to look at a police officer.
Advocates also criticizing the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office for its agreement with ICE. But the Sheriff's Office says it keeps the county safe and only applies to people at the jail for unrelated criminal charges. In Sterling, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
And staying in Virginia, more than a dozen sheriff's offices have made deals to help ICE with immigration enforcement. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office is the only Northern Virginia agency to sign on with this. The agreements allow for local law enforcement to do some of the work typically reserved for ICE agents. That includes removing migrants with pending or active criminal charges, as well as serve and execute warrants on migrants in jail.
And DC News Now's your local election headquarters. As the race for Virginia's governor heats up, both candidates are promising to eliminate the unpopular car tax if they're elected. A Virginia Tech political science professor says nearly all Virginians dislike paying the car tax. She says it's simply good politics for Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears to promise to get rid of it.
I think candidates in general like to have that distilled messaging, also that's easy to remember. And more than that, most people, most of the time, don't pay that much attention to electoral politics or to policy. And so for all of those reasons, it's a good way to make the message out there, get the message out there, and to keep reinforcing it in a simple, easy to remember fashion.
Regardless of who is elected, Holt says they'll face an uphill battle when it comes to getting rid of the tax. The Democratic-controlled General Assembly rejected Governor Glenn Youngkin's proposal to do just that during this year's session.
Your time right now is 6:12 on a Friday. Still ahead this morning, an economic check-in on the district.
Yeah, hear what Mayor Bowser says about DC's financial future, including getting the Commanders back to DC. That's next.